Trevor, before he came on, I threw out, I don't know, an idea that I have here for the Bears because, and I've tried to tell people in Chicago this, the Caleb versus Fields thing doesn't have to be a binary decision. You could trade Justin Fields, get whatever you can get, a 2, maybe it's more like a 3 that could go to a 2 and a 5, something like that, right? And you can also trade number 1. If you are comfortable with Drake May or Jaden Daniels, you could potentially get a bounty, although not the same as 12-2 maybe, but you could get something if you traded from 1 down to 2, where Cliff Kingsbury sits now with the Commanders, or from 1 down to 3, where Elliott Wolf seemingly is now in charge in New England. What do you think of that idea? If again, you're okay with one of the other 2.
Yeah. No, I think that is a scenario that could certainly play out. Now, I'm not so sure it's going to be that close on teams' boards. And I think for this conversation to make sense, they all have to be right there. And if Chicago does, like you said, if they feel like they can win a Super Bowl, right? Because that's what we're going for here. If you think you can win a Super Bowl with any of these 3 quarterbacks, if you believe it is truly a coin flip of who you would rather have, then of course, I think that you would entertain this a little bit. The NFL draft is first and foremost about getting good football players, but it's also a little bit of a game, right? It's trading, it's wheeling and dealing, it's moving up and down, it's getting value exactly where you can to maximize future picks and moving up and having flexibility. So I think this is a conversation that is worth having. I don't think it's likely that it manifests itself when Ryan Poles and his scouting department are finished with their rankings, that they would truly be that close with all 3 of these guys. But if they are, it makes sense. I mean, you can expand this theory that you have here to the Arizona Cardinals, right? You look at the Cardinals at number 4. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think a lot of people talk about him as the consensus wide receiver 1, but I think it'll be pretty close between him and Malik Neighbors from LSU, Rome Odunze from Washington. Does Arizona get in a spot where even if all 3 are on the board, even if Marvin Harrison's on the board, they say to themselves, we can move back. We can get more picks. We can be comfortable with that. Monty Ossenfort, very clearly in his first year as general manager last year, was comfortable moving from 3 to 12 and then 12 back up to 6 to get the player they were probably going to pick at number 3, and they get an extra first-round pick out of it. So that's a fun part of this game. The Jets could maybe be a similar team. Jets are sitting there at number 10. Maybe when they get to the board, Joe Alt might be off the board, but let's say Talise Fuaga, Olufashanu, J.C. Latham, maybe they're still all on the board, and the Jets go, wow, maybe we can move back a little bit. We'd be comfortable with any of these guys. And so your theory is definitely something that's in play. Maybe not as much for Chicago at number 1, but could be for a lot of these other teams because this draft class is so good at a lot of the premium positions.
And catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.